You have the career, you have the income, you have the discipline, you look amazing, and love is the one place where none of this translate. So you are truly a high achieving woman and you've done a lot of great work in your life. And if someone looks at you from the outside looking in, they're going to know that you have done a wonderful job of taking care of yourself, doing exactly the things that you're supposed to do to become the woman that you are, right? But there's just one thing, right? There's one area, which is love, when it comes to your romantic relationship, that has been a struggle over the years and continues to be a struggle. And there's just one thing that's actually causing it. The name of the wound is called the queen wound. And I want you to write that down. The queen wound is a fracture of an identity, right? Is think of when a glass breaks, it has a fracture in it, right? It is not your personality. And this is what the biggest thing, this is why this conversation that we're gonna have today is one of the most important conversations that you're gonna have around romantic relationship, especially as a high achieving woman who has everything except this one area nailed down, which is you are looking to meet and marry the right man. If that's you, I want you to really lean into the conversation that we're gonna have over the next few videos, because this is the one thing that I feel like there's a huge blind spot that is hard to see for yourself because you're in it. Right. And so, as I mentioned, the queen wound is a fracture in identity. It's not your personality. So I know a lot of you might think that this is my personality. This is just how I am. And that's it. You know, take me or leave me. But there's more. Right. So how did this wound come about in the first place? Right. So on the outside, again, like I mentioned, you look extraordinary. Like you are actually incredible. But the inside, right? There is a way that you shrink and you become less than you are when it comes to love, not in any other areas, but when it comes to love, right? So from the outside, again, very invisible, you look perfectly fine. And it's not that you're not perfectly fine. It's just that this particular wound, the queen wound, affects how you operate with men. Which is why when it comes to regular relationships, friendships, you're fine. When it comes to work relationships, you're also fine. But the minute it has to do with a romantic relationship, you become a different person. And that's because of this queen wound, right? And so that's why this is, again, single-handedly the most important conversation you'll have about romantic relationship in 2026. And I want to talk to you deeply about what it is and where it comes from, right? So we've heard about attachment styles, which is how, you attach to other people. We've heard about, so many different ideas and concepts, right? This is something that I created after being married for 20 years, after coaching many women for over 10 years, since 2015, when it comes to romantic relationships. And I had to figure out, like, how do I explain what is going on, particularly with women who have it all except romantic relationship, women who have it all except for in love, right? So how did this wound come about in the first place? Like, what caused this queen wound? And this queen wound, right? I don't know if I said it before, but it's about you feeling like you're too much, so you have to be less than, right? So this idea that I'm too much, so I have to be less than. In order for me to get along with a romantic partner, I have to be less. Let me say it again. The queen wound is this idea that in order for me to get along with a romantic partner, I have to be less. This does not apply in career or in anywhere else. This is why the queen wound is very specific to romantic relationships, which is different from any other thing you've ever learned any place else, specifically for romantic relationships. Some other theories apply to every category in your life. The queen wound is the only theory that applies to romantic relationship, which is why I believe deep down in my heart, this is literally the breakthrough that a lot of women are looking for when it comes to the romantic relationship. Why they've tried everything and it simply does not work. They keep dating the same man over and over again. Men keep getting over on them. Like, it's just so many things going on, and they don't see the red flags up front. They get involved too deeply. It's just a lot going on. It's like men don't want to settle down, and it's all these things about men and relationship and the dating pool and all these things. Today, I want to put everything in the right place so you can see it from a vantage point that you have never seen it from before. Okay. The first thing, right? So where did this wound come from? Where this idea that you have to be less in order to get along, you have to be less in order for things to work. So the first thing, there's a father fracture, right? Growing up, right? There's something with the father that happens where you learn that a man's presence, right, is earned. Like, you have to earn his presence to be there. So it doesn't have to be anything traumatic or dramatic. This is very important. For some people it is, but it doesn't have to be, because a lot of people will say, I have my father in my life. So here's what I want you to listen to, right? So the father factor happens, right? If you learn to earn the presence of a man that you love, like if you had to earn the presence of your father, like, so he was very inconsistent in one way or another, loving man, good man, treated your mother well, but was inconsistent. When you had to earn, and kind of like that earning that love is where the father fracture happens, because in romantic relationship, you will now have to feel like you have to earn his love as well. So you want to write that down, like where this comes from, right? Another one is the conditional love blueprint, right? This is where love always feels like a performance. A lot of us, I can relate to this one, where it feels like you have to do something to be enough, right? You have to perform to get the kind of love that you have. You have to do something to get the kind of love that you have. You have to take care, let me give you an example. You have to take care of your siblings for you to get applause from your parents or to feel seen. You have to get straight A's in order for you to get applause and be seen by your family and the ones that you love. You have to, again, is attached to performance. I have to do something for them to even recognize me or clap for me, or, and this is when you're younger, or feel like what I'm doing is enough. So you attached, so conditional love, the conditional love blueprint is all about the fact that you have to perform to be loved. And then the last one, right, is the heartbreak imprint is when you were fully yourself and it ended badly, right? And you pretty much were rejected, right? And your nervous system said, okay, we can't do that again. Being myself is dangerous. Being my full self is dangerous. So I will only show up in romantic relationships as a version of myself, the one that is accepted by society, but I won't be my full self, because last time I was my full self, I was rejected and it didn't work out. And so now moving forward, nope, just a little bit. Don't show them everything. Nope. And so you date with this hedge, with this hesitation. And so I want you to think about that, right? So what's the first one? The father factor, which is you have to earn a presence of a man. Like you have to earn it, right? He won't just be there, right? Conditional love is when you have to perform. I have to do this, I have to do that, and the other. Heartbreak is when you've been told that you cannot be your full self. Once you're your full self, something's gonna happen. So hide parts of myself, hide my authentic self, and just put on a show for the part of me that's accepted by people, in this case, a romantic relationship, okay? Very important to know where it comes from. We can go into details about it, because everybody's, how their origin story happened might be different. And so just know that all of it is still going back to this whole idea of the queen wound. All of this is like how the queen wound was developed in the first place, which is you have to be less than you are. And less, obviously you see there's a variety of less, and I'm going to show you how it shows up in dating day to day. But that's where it comes from, right? That's what causes this queen wound in romantic relationships that I'm talking about. And so let me talk about how it shows up. Like, what are the 4 ways that it shows up? Number 1, right, is this: you shrink your excellence. You're very apologetic, right? So that he doesn't feel threatened. So write that down, right? This is the one that is that she's an achiever, but she shrinks. So her excellence, right, is not, he doesn't feel threatened by it. So if you find yourself shrinking, like, let me not say that, let me not show that, because he's threatened, I don't want him to feel threatened, that's how it shows up. Another way it shows up is when you fall in love, right, with who he could be. So you're the type, the potential, you love the potential, the potential, the potential, the potential. You can see the potential in a homeless man. And then you may think that that's a good thing, but when it comes to romantic relationship, that's not your job in a romantic relationship. And we can talk about that in another video. What is a woman's role in a romantic relationship? Falling in love with potential is not it, okay? It's not saying that we have to pick perfect people. It's saying that that man has to come to the table with enough that feeds you, because your cup is full, his cup needs to be full. So, but chasing or helping or, you know, getting projects, you know, is something that you fall into when you, number 2, the fixer, right? You tend to fall in love with people that need to be fixed. Their projects, it's always an issue. You fall in love with who he could be, not who he is, okay? Number 3 is you have to manage a man's emotion. You live in a prison. This particular one, I want you to check in to see, you live in a prison when it comes to romantic relationship, because you literally manage the climate, the emotional climate of a relationship, so that you could be called easygoing. Oh, she's so easygoing. So you do everything. You contort, you twist, you turn, you bend, you break quietly, just so you can manage the emotional climate of the relationship, okay? That's number 3. So number 4 is in this independent illusion, right? A lot of women probably could, so let me just be clear, right? All of these 4, let me say the 4th one and I'll say about it, right? So the 4th one is this independent illusion that you have. So you have built up this complete, especially if you're high achiever, you can probably relate to this, right? This complete life where you've made yourself unavailable to actually need anyone. So you said, not only do I have a fantastic life, I'm going to make it so that I don't need anyone, but it's an illusion. You are independent, but it's really an illusion. Now, I just named the behavior, how this shows up in romantic relationships. Now, here's the thing I want you to know. Just know that there's a primary way that this shows up in your romantic relationship and a secondary way. If you're listening to me right now, right, this is one thing I want you, this is one of the most important things I'm going to say right now. If you're listening to me right now and you can identify what yourself in one of these like primary, you know that this applies in different ways to you, but you know that there's a one that really stands out to you right now. I want you to write this down. I want you to know that this is the one that you are conscious of, okay? If you can identify yourself in one of the four I just named, you are conscious of it. The work that I do with women I'm coaching privately, and the work that many women need that they typically do not get at the deepest level, is that the primary one is the one that is unconscious. It looks like it's part of your personality. You don't know the difference between you and that thing, so you can't identify it. Let me write this. I'm going to say this again because I hope you get it. This is how I've helped so many women enter healthy loving relationship, heal abandonment wounds, heal this queen wound, like literally change their life. Let me say this to you again. If you can identify the one that you relate to the most, you're like, yep, this is how I come, I lean towards this the most. That one is a conscious revelation that you know, I'm conscious of this. The blind spot, right, for you is in the one that you cannot identify. That's why it's on a subconscious level. You won't see the difference between that and yourself. Is a personality. It to you is a personality. That's just the way I am. The one you cannot identify is the one that gives you the biggest trouble when it comes to romantic relationship, but you can't identify it as such because you're in the picture frame. You can't see the whole picture because you're in the frame. This is the one that if you find yourself just repeating the same patterns every single time, you're like, I just don't get what I'm doing wrong. I just don't get it. I just don't, you won't get it. Because how can you get something that you cannot actually perceive or see? It's on a subconscious level. This is where private coaching is very important. If you're interested, I have a few spots available for this month. You can click the link and you can book the Queen Wound audit, and I will literally go through a full assessment and tell you which one is actually your primary wound, how the behavior shows up, and how to apply it, and like what areas will this trip you up and what to look for. Like, so you'll get a full assessment to know what is your actual primary wound. Remember, the one you can identify yourself is the secondary wound, is the secondary where your behavior shows up and trips you up in romantic relationship. The primary one is hard because you are yourself is one with who you are. So then it's not a big deal. You just jump rope, right? It's just, so when someone says, oh, jump rope, you can just jump rope because it's almost like part of who you are. It's almost part of your personality. There's no difference between you and jumping rope because you just know how to do it. It's just not a big deal, right? So it's almost similar in the sense that when you are the primary issue when it comes to the behavioral thing that you're demonstrating when you're relating to men, the biggest thing I want you to know is that is the biggest blind spot. And that it's almost impossible for you to actually see it because there's no difference between you and the thing. So you cannot actually identify it as a problem. That's where the biggest work is. And when we untangle that, everything changes. You're like, there's a big awareness that comes into your life that you're like, oh my goodness, I have actually, and this is what happens in the private, in these wound audits that I do, in the private coaching that I do, is usually like, oh my God, I actually have never seen that before. I've actually never understood that before. Another thing too, sometimes there's a lot of crying and tears, but in a good way. It's like revelatory, like I'm not bugging, I'm not crazy. Like I just knew there was something, I didn't know what the something was. And that's what the Queen Wound audit would do. So if you're interested, you can book that audit. It's 60 minutes long, right? Even if you're not interested in long-term coaching for right now, even if all you did was get a full audit and understand what is going on with you, and not in a judgmental or shameful way, but just understand what is actually the way I'm expressing my life when it comes to romantic relationship, you will be further ahead in a way that is very, very different than anything that you've ever heard, read, even therapy, right? Because therapy does a really good job of talking about things from the past and explaining why you do the things that you do. This is on a different level, especially because of the two dynamics that we have here, which is a high achieving woman, a woman who has excelled in everywhere but a romantic relationships, right? And not only that is how this is expressed in specific ways when it comes to romantic relationship. The other like theories or whatever, it's very across the board, right? It's very much like if this applies here, it also applies in career, and is not the case. Romantic relationships is a different type of wound. It's called the queen wound. It's very, very different. Is different and is nuanced. And I know that psychology tries to group everything together, but it's simply not true. If I did an assessment, your career is great. You have a great job. You probably you have your great car. You have great friends. You are truly a happy person. But when it comes to romantic relationship, it seems like something that's out of your control. It seems like something that you can't get right. Like just men won't comply and do what you would love them to do. That's completely different. And sometimes I feel like people who haven't worked with enough women don't understand this. I don't care what they have, what their background is. They just won't understand it. And sometimes you'll be gaslit like this, and it's like, no, like, when it comes to the matters of the heart, there's something very different here. Okay. I have great girlfriends, but when it comes to a romantic relationship, it does not translate. You know what I mean? And so if you're saying that to yourself, just know that I hear you, I see you, and there's a lot of women who have the same experience. And so creating, this process to really help women understand this is not something that I take lightly. I have over almost 600 women who have downloaded my door method. And if you're not aware of what the door method is, it's 10 doors every man must pass through in order for you to meet and marry the right man. So it was a screening door. So if you don't have that, I'm going to put the link in the description so you can download it. It's complimentary. Is a 4-page PDF, and it shows you the doors that every man has to go through, and then you just don't let them through all the doors, right? So it's 10 doors. Let me just give you a little preview. It's like so good. It's 10 doors. Door 10 is sleeping with the man. Door 8 is falling in love, right? And oftentimes women are falling in love, sleeping with men way ahead of time, and they're bypassing door 1 through 5, door 6, door 7. They get into 8. They're loving a man already, then get into door 10, sleeping with the man, all without ever having to filter or discern or anything like that. So I cannot tell you how many emails I've gotten about, thank you, Queenette. I wish I had this in my 20s. Thank you, Queenette. And so that's also available for you. So the door method, download it. It's a free guide. The queen wound audit. I think every woman would benefit from a 60-minute full audit about the way your wounds are showing up in romantic relationships specifically. And if you're interested in that, click the link as well. And book your session, right? I think that would be one of the most important work that you will do this year and in the upcoming years, because the queen wound actually costs women 7 years of unhealthy romantic relationship, minimum 7 years. It will cost you like 7 to 10 years of, hey, and I don't mean that because I'm trying to exaggerate at all. There are women like, I'm not even dating. I haven't dated in 5 years. I haven't dated in 7 years. I haven't even situationships, yeah, sleeping with men, sure, but like having something serious and like worth it, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. So it's not like the queen wound is something that you can avoid. And let me just be clear, getting it right now is so important, because even when you enter a relationship and you don't understand these things will come out and play out in your relationship and in your marriage. So if you see that the divorce rate is 50%, there's a reason for that. We're not doing the deepest work that we can do we're not doing the deepest work that we can do in order to have the full picture of what's actually going on. And so it's not a matter of like, oh, I need to do this so I can have a man. No. This is work that you need to do so you understand the dynamics that's creating all of these relationships that don't work, all of these relationships that end almost the same way, right? So that's what the queen wound is all about. So again, book that session, 60-minute of the most important work that you'll do this year. And honestly, for the next 10 years, it's actually worth it for your future children and your future generations. And I mean that. And I think after you download the door method and you see how very specific and nuanced that work is, you'll also understand like the next step is literally book a session for the queen wound and get your full audit. So now once you know, then that level of awareness also allows you to start paying attention. And then I give you some things to do right after that so you can start seeing the world differently. And that's the most important thing. When you start seeing the world differently, you start reacting to it differently. But when you're blind, that's what the blind spot is. When you have a blind spot, you don't even realize that you're quite literally living a life that's different from a reality, in which, it's just different. Okay. So, all right. So what else? So on the other side, like what happens, right? When you are finally, you understand the queen wound, you've done the audit, you booked a session for the audit, and you understand what's going on. What happens is once you've processed and you know what's going on, and you've done the work, right, to heal the wound, because it's a wound, right? And so let me be clear about the wound, because when we hear wound, we like, oh, heal, heal, heal. First of all, a wound is not something that you did right or wrong. It's almost like when I was cooking the other day, and you can see it, I burned my finger right here. So it's not, I got burned. It's not right or wrong. I just got burned. Now what I have to do is like put cocoa butter on it, massage it, heal it so that it doesn't get, it doesn't get hardened into a callus or whatever, right? When you don't heal, right, the queen wound, number one is, again, it's not right or wrong, it's not good or bad, right? It's just, I'm saying it's not right or wrong. However, if you leave it there, it'll just have a callus. And so the callus is how the behavior is showing up in the 4 ways that we talked about, right? And so your job is not to go shaming yourself. Here's another thing I have to heal. No, it's not. It's that I got burned. Like, I just have to put some ointment on it and massage it and make sure that it's okay. The same thing with the queen wound. I got burned from the time I was little, through, childhood or whatever, and that's okay. You get what I'm saying? You have to come from it's okay. I just didn't know, and I didn't know that this was affecting how I showed up in relationships. I didn't know this was affecting my relationship. I didn't know this was affecting how I saw relationships. I didn't know that when I'm calling the dating pool P, I didn't know that there's another pool that's clean that have all the gentlemen that I actually want to date. But all I can see is the P pool, and I'm here trying to pick apart from the P pool because of that queen wound. And it's like, oh, if I deal with the queen wound, I get to play in the clean water in the pool where everybody's just chilling, where people that eat at my level are, where all the type of men that I want to date are. But I have to do my work so I can go play in that other pool. You get what I'm saying? And not think that all the pools are like this, and it's not, and it's simply not. But if I don't heal the queen wound, I will just continue to play in the P pool over and over again. And all my girlfriends and I will say the same thing over and over again. And there's another world, even if I can't see it right now, where that pool is clean and the gentlemen are there, emotionally intelligent, men who have done the work, men who have a great career, they have consistency, they have discipline, they go to the gym, they pay their bills, they have their nice apartments and everything. They've done what you've done. They're there, okay? That's what the work is all about. And from meeting a good gentleman, you guys can create, which is what my end goal is. My agenda for all this is that you meet and marry the right man the first time. Now, women who are like in their second marriage is always like, Quinette, what about us? Of course, you are coming along as well. My goal, right? And it's like a big goal. It's like one of those things where I always like to, like, again, high achiever. I want to like leave a mark where it's like I help people enter a happy and healthy, loving relationship and marriage the first time around, right? Because I believe in keeping families together in a healthy way. That's why I can come on here and be like 5 steps to, and I've not that I haven't done that, like 5 steps to meet and whatever. But what I keep running into is I'm coaching women in real life, is that this stuff is getting in the way. Yes, I'm helping all the women that are in my coaching get the help and help do the healing, but people outside of that container don't even know what's going on. So I'm like, okay, Quinette, you have to talk about what's going on so other people know that it's not just about the steps to go meet man and go to the dating apps and do this, and you can do all those things. The results haven't changed. And so until we work at the identity level, at the root level, the results will be the same. And so I just have to trust and know that Quinette come in and they're wise enough. I had to listen. I had to tell myself that you are wise enough to hear that if there's something else that you can do, that it behooves us all that we do that work, because generationally speaking, it has a bigger impact. Is not just on you if you get it right or wrong, right? Is that, if you get this right, which is the beautiful thing, especially when you've changed so many things generationally already, financially, career-wise, just the status where you live, all those things, that why would we leave love to chance? Why would we leave love alone? Again, I've been married for 20 years, and when I tell you one of the biggest healing thing that I know I've done, and for my kids too, I have a 19-year-old, 18-year-old, and a 13-year-old, is this work. And in another video, I will talk to you more about it, like the work that I've done, right? That has led us to be able to raise these beautiful children, highly emotionally intelligent, and just live a life that we all dream about, but sometimes feels like it's out of reach. And so it's not, when it comes to this particular thing, I've mastered it, and I cannot wait to continue to share this with you, okay? So if this resonates, look in the description, download the door method. It's free guide. Link is below. Read through it. And when you read through, you're like, this is the messages I've got with 600 women. So this is not, I'm not guessing about what I'm talking about. Have downloaded, have said, Quinette, thank you. Thank you for this. Like, I've been dating, like dating blindly. This is what I'm talking about. And then for some of you, you already know, Queenette, I need to book the Queen Wound Audit immediately. Book it. And for those of you that, listen, I don't care what it is. I already know I need private coaching. The link will be there as well for you to for you to book a consult for private coaching, right? Which is different from booking the Queen Wound Audit straight. Okay, so the Queen Wound Audit is 60 minutes straight. Private coaching is 90 days, and then there's a consult for that to make sure that you're a good fit. And of course, if you do take the private coaching, of course you're gonna get the audit at the same time. Does that make sense? So just make sure that you know. Okay, so depending on when you listen to this, but know that I go live Thursdays. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live on this YouTube channel. And so subscribe. And live, I'm doing relationship Q&A live on Thursday. So just know that this is the internet. So you are agreeing to be on the internet. If you have any questions that you're gonna be on the internet and all those things, right? And if you have your questions, bring it. Relationship Q&A with Queenette live on Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring your real questions. If anything that I said resonates and you're like, I just have to ask this, great. Okay. All right. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.